because there's so little civic engagement. When you actually build a grassroots democratic movement, it suddenly carries far more power than anyone, including the powerful, expect.
Put me in, coach. I'll join up.
I'll be the
effort.
mayor.
I'll join the Zorussi regime. We'll work as, what were we going to work as re-educators?
I don't think it's fair that our members have to go to food banks and wait in line in food banks to feed their children when they're working full time.
You begin to ask yourself, like, what is it all worth? Does any of this even matter? You no longer feel joy upon seeing, and being able to pet one of your favorite dogs on the route.
For me to be the first, second generation president of the union, it takes everything that's led up to it, all the wonderful opportunities that I've had and the work that I've done and everything else. It sort of frames it in a different way.
All right, are we good to go?
Yeah.
All right, and check. Everybody sounds good. In 3, 2, 1.
You know what, Chris? You're exhausted. Let me take this. From the Labor Radio Podcast Network, this is the Labor Radio Podcast Weekly, bringing you the voices of working people, one show at a time. I'm Chris Garlock. No, I'm not. That's your section. I'm Harold Phillips.
So I'm pretty sure I'm Chris Garlock.
I'm Patrick Dixon. I'm not Harold Phillips.
And you're definitely not Chris Garlock. All right, we've got grassroots victories. We've got artistic rebellion. We've got worker struggles. And just for the heck of it, we've got union leadership all across the labor airwaves.
Can we really say airwaves? I mean, a lot of these are podcasts. Well, anyways, from Cincinnati's boiling point, we're going to hear how civic engagement and grassroots democracy are reshaping the political map.
Then the Art and Labour team bring us an election night report live from the streets of Brooklyn on their way to the Boris concert.
The Boris concert? Who's Boris?
Hey, some musical act, but they were really excited about seeing him, apparently.
Yeah.
I am so out of it. All right, we head next west, always west to Montana. Blue Collar News, which I think is new. I had to go find the graphic for this one, right, Harold?
New this week. We are so excited to have this new show from the Montana AFL-CIO on the Labor Radio Podcast Network roster.
And they're reporting from the front lines of the just concluded longest ever federal government shutdown and how it hit working families.
And Next Generation Carriers is going to explore burnout amongst postal workers. And let's be honest, I think we can all relate to a little burnout. What it feels like, how it happens, and what solidarity can do about it.
And let me get this right. Finally, on the SAG-AFTRA podcast, they have Sean Astin, well known for Rudy and Lord of the Rings. Anyway, Sean has grabbed the brass ring and taken on the role of new president of the union, following in the path of his mother, Patty Duke.
Harold, you must be excited, yes?
Let me tell you, I was at convention a couple of weeks ago, the SAG-AFTRA National Convention. Sean Astin, he's actually as nice a guy as you think he is.
Oh, I love that. It was nice when that's the case. All right, folks, that's all coming up on this week's Labor Radio Podcast Weekly.
Stay tuned.
And let's hear what working people are talking about.
Are y'all listening to the beat in your head? It's a good beat.
Wanted to get the ring thing in. You get it. The grab the brass ring and the Lord of the...
I got it.
All right, folks, we're starting in Cincinnati with Boiling Point, and host Michelle Dunn talks with Liv Merrill of DSA Cincinnati about Zohran Mamdani's, it says here, upset mayoral victory. I don't think it was so much of an upset. The primary was an upset. The general, I wouldn't call it was a squeaker. I think we could say it was a squeaker.
I think Andrew Cuomo was upset, for the record.
That is very much fair. All right. Also, how grassroots democracy still has the power to surprise the powerful. Speaking of Andrew Cuomo, although I don't think he's so powerful anymore, but anyway.
Not so much.
Welcome to 88.3 WAIF FM. You are listening to Boiling Point, news and views of working families struggling for justice around the city, around the country, around the world. I'm your host, Michelle Dunn, proud member of CFT Local 1520. Okay, folks, we're listening to Zohran Mamdani's victory speech in New York City after he just won the mayor's race a couple nights ago against Andrew Cuomo. And we're here with Liv Merrill with DSA Cincinnati chapter. So good to have you on the show, Boiling Point, Liv. All right, so let's, we would love to, we're fangirling right now of the speech, I think, right? Like together. This speech has got some really great moments, and we got to touch on a couple more, but let's just get back to the discussion about the transformative moment that this feels like in this country with that win against a context of also a lot of other wins for Democrats, blue Democrats. There was the Virginia State House gained a bunch of Democratic seats. We have 2 new women governors, I think, of California passed Prop 50, which was a way to protect against gerrymandering to get Trump more seats. But, what else how is this moment, how meaningful is this moment?
This is, I think, a proof of a concept that started very early on as DSA began reorganizing itself in the post-2016 period after Trump got elected. For those unfamiliar, DSA started in the year 2015 with about 5,000 members, and shortly after Trump was elected, immediately bounded up to 20,000 members. And I can tell you today that New York City DSA has passed 11,500 members, which is more than double what the entire membership of DSA was across the country just 10 years ago. Mm. And one of the really important discussions that happened early in DSA was this idea that was expressed by one member of the organization that was in New York City, Michael Kanukin. And he talked about one of the real tragedies of U.S. society is that grassroots democratic civic life had disappeared from the U.S. And most things had fallen to corporate power, like control by major elites influencing decisions. But one of the side effects of this is because there's so little civic engagement. When you actually build a grassroots democratic movement, it suddenly carries far more power than anyone, including the powerful, expect. The idea that he suggested was if you can get 40 people into a DSA meeting in any location in the country, you probably have potentially one of the most powerful political organizations that exists anywhere in your city. And well, we see this in this year in February 2025, Zohran in the Democratic primary was polling at 1% in the Emerson polls.
Okay.
And he surged forward, not from anything that was just pure coincidence, but from having strong demands and a powerful volunteer army behind him that believed that this agenda needed to happen. And that volunteer army is in many ways the real story of the Zohran victory and what makes it stand out as a political moment.
Right. I mean, because, like he said in the opening speech, they have toppled a dynasty, right? Name recognition. I mean, the Cuomo name, and also just all the billionaire support of Cuomo. But like we always like to say, at elections, we don't count dollars, we count votes. Right. And so and Zohran in his acceptance speech throughout, he honors all the people who showed up to help him to get to where he's at, of course, because that's what, like you said, is what made the difference, is this grassroots, thousands of people knocking doors, making phone calls. Well, listen, folks, you've been listening to Boiling Point, and you've been listening to Liv Merrill with DSA Cincinnati. So glad you came on the show.
Hey, this is Mark, your host on My Labor Radio, and we're proud to be part of the Labor Radio Podcast Network with more than 200 labor radio shows and podcasts from across the country and around the world. The Labor Radio Podcast Network, where working people speak. Find us at laborradionetwork.org.
Okay, let's stick with the election and go to Brooklyn, where Art and Labor co-hosts OK Fox and Nas wander the street on election night, blending humor, politics, and cultural critique. as they unpack what artists and organizers are feeling before the results and in the wake of the results, because they kind of recorded the whole night, and it's a wild ride, guys. Trust me.
One of your favorite shows, Harold.
Love that show.
I don't always know what they're talking about, but I still enjoy it.
You're going along for the ride, man. You're going along for the ride.
Yep.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another rip-roaring episode of Art and Labor. I'm your host, OK Fox, and with me is my co-host Naz.
Hello. Hey, how's everybody going? We are currently walking down, what is this, Jackson Street, not Avenue, and we are headed to the Boris concert. So come with us on Mamdani's election night.
The Boris is going to shout out Mamdani.
Is that what the Borises are going to do?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's a night of suspense, mystery, intrigue. But yeah, so far quiet on these Brooklyn streets. No fights, no Nazi rallies.
Did see the Sliwa signs in the old Italian delis. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
This neighborhood mathematically doesn't matter. Who cares?
Who cares about it? Who cares?
They'll get with the program later. They're just dummy Republicans.
Well, I mean, it becomes just the they've done it this way. They've always done it this way. Why would they change? Why would they do anything different? Who cares about the little guy? I got mine.
Put me in, coach. I'll join up.
I'll be the
effort.
mayor.
I'll join the Zorussi regime. We'll work as, what were we going to work as re-educators?
Yeah. We were going to make it so I could work at a museum in an ethical and non-moral dilemma way. We could potentially abolish traditional schooling and teach people through these beautiful museums. Though, of course, we have to be careful about what we teach, because museums can also be tools of colonial and capitalist empire. Usually they are. So we have to be careful, is what I'm saying. Nope, over here.
Oh, I see I see it. I see it in the distance.
If you ran a super popular leftist podcast, and the Zohran was on, and
you just let him get away with the really shitty, terrible answer. That pissed me off.
And he had a really bullshit non-answer for the Tish James thing, and Tish James is really crazy because she's like a plutocrat, fascist,
right?
Really dangerous, terrible person. Do you think you'd ask a follow-up question?
Passing shit around.
The terrible answer that Zohran gave. I don't.
It's not a priority to these people. It's not a priority to these people. They're petite bourgeois.
I just work for the city.
So I'm just asking questions.
Right.
I don't know about follow-ups or anything.
I think that
softball interview.
Well, and that's the thing. All these interviews always are softball, because that's not you're not selling the policy. You're selling the person.
Yeah.
And people went for it, hook, line, and sinker. That's it. No wonder Mamdani's doing the scavenger hunts and things like that. I support him if that's, of course this is the kind of stuff you have to do.
It's covert military training.
Right.
I'm on board.
I don't have an issue with it. It's just no, this is what we are being fed. So
It might be the best chance we got, though, for a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That's it. If this is what it takes to get people...
It's to a point. They're just challenging us to do something, because they threw Cuomo in on purpose. We had to sharpen our teeth on him.
Well, yeah.
There'll be so much more blood to be had.
I kind of feel like
it is the Intifada. I believe.
Did you see that de Blasio was wearing a shirt that says "Hot Girls for Zohran"?
She's transitioning. That's how she announced her transition. Congrats to her. Okay, be back later for the results.
Just upload it as
I will upload it as is. That's the election special.
Hey, this is Bob Odie from $1 Million Organizer. We're proud to be part of the Labor Radio Podcast Network. with more than 200 labor radio shows and podcasts from across the country and around the world. The Labor Radio Podcast Network, where working people speak. Find us at laborradionetwork.org.
Out in Montana, back to Montana, Blue Collar News host Jason and AFGE Local 4012 President Jordan Harwell discusses the personal toll of the government shutdown as Social Security employees keep working full-time but without pay.
I mean, say what you want to about the end of the shutdown, at least paychecks are finally going to go out, right?
Well, good afternoon, everybody. We're filming out of beautiful Helena, Montana today. It's been quite a while since we've done any updates, but today we're bringing you the Blue Collar News, and we have AFGE 4012 local president Jordan Harwell, based out of Butte, Montana, and he'll be doing the show with us today, and hopefully we'll get some questions answered, and everybody will have a little more information by the time we're done. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yes, thank you, Jason, for the invitation to participate in this podcast today. My name is Jordan Harwell, and I'm local president of American Federation of Government Employees, AFGE Local 4012, and I'm based here in Butte, Montana. And our local represents Social Security employees in Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota, South Dakota, and right here in Montana.
So tell me, how's the shutdown, the federal government shutdown, impacted your membership?
Well, it's been very difficult for many of our members, particularly the financial impacts that the shutdown has had. Now, most of our membership have been accepted from the shutdown, aka meaning that they're working full-time without pay. Now, that situation has caused a significant hardship for many. You're talking about, this coming Friday is going to be the second full paycheck that our members have missed during this time. So in the last paycheck that was received was partial. It was light. It was missing, 3 full days. So now you're running into a situation where many of our members are working full-time, going to work every day, but aren't getting a paycheck. Obviously, this is having a very difficult, this is very challenging for many, myself included. I'd be remiss to say I've had to call my mortgage lender to try to get an extension on paying that. But an entire month at this point without a paycheck, while you're still going to work all full time for many, it's been extremely challenging. And I think it's fundamentally unfair, because here's the thing, is our members are working hard to get people their earned benefits while their own financial situations suffer. I don't think it's fair that our members have to go to food banks and wait in line in food banks to feed their children when they're working full time. They should be getting a paycheck for their work, and this disruption in pay has caused significant challenges for many.
So what steps have you guys taken, has AFGE taken, to contend with the shutdown and mobilize your membership?
Well, we've been really prioritizing and focusing on getting resources sent over to our members. For our part, we've been sending constant email updates to our membership. I've spent a lot of time trying to compile different resources like financial assistance, energy assistance, resources on childcare, healthcare, and all, any kind of financial or, shutdown related assistance that we can find. And within AFGE, our council, within AFGE, we've compiled a spreadsheet. This is a living document with different resources on it. But beyond sending resources and information on that, we've also been advocating, for more flexible work arrangements during the duration of the shutdown, particularly with episodic telework, for example, We've got, in Montana, we've done studies. And on average, the average employee in Montana could be spending as much as, $100 or plus commuting to work each week, without knowing when they will receive a paycheck. Right. And these commuting expenses, this is one of these expenses that can't wait. Getting to work costs money. Right. And we've been advocating for more flexible arrangements with telework because of the financial hardship. The vast majority of work, that we perform is portable, meaning that it can be completed while teleworking.
Well, thanks a whole bunch, Jordan. Just so you know, we're hoping for the best, and the AFL-CIO here in Montana is willing to help in any manner we can to further your position, and hopefully this works out okay for everybody in the end. So,
hey, thank you very much.
Hello, troublemakers. This is Lynn Fields from Resolved Labor Podcast. We're proud to be part of the Labor Radio Podcast Network with more than 200 labor radio shows and podcasts from across the country and around the world. The Labor Radio Podcast Network, where working people speak. Find us at laborradionetwork.org.
In Next Generation Carriers, letter carrier Margot discusses burnout, describing the exhaustion, cynicism, and self-doubt that come from long hours and chronic stress, and what it takes to rebuild community and care at work. And Harold, I think this must be another new one because, again, I had to look up the graphic for it, so it must be relatively new, right?
No, we've had Next Generation Carriers in the network for a while. They usually do a couple of shows a week. And this show is a great example of how even a show that's specific to one job, being a letter carrier, can really educate all of us in all walks of life about what we're dealing with at work and at home.
Hello there, and welcome to the Next Generation Carriers podcast, the Women's Roundtable edition. I am your host, Margot, and I am incredibly honored to be hosting my very first episode of Next Generation Carriers, and today I would like to talk about burnout. So I don't know if you have kind of peeked your head out around the corner of your case in the morning, but I think a lot of the people at the post office are burnt out. And especially the women, but I think the gentlemen, I think the girlies, the boilies, the everybody's will have a lot to get out of this episode. So let's be real. We work a very demanding job, sometimes for long hours of the day. It is incredibly taxing on our bodies and on our minds. So I thought that this would be an appropriate topic because it is going to become even more relevant as we head into peak season. And we all get to deal with a massive influx of election mail, parcels, cards, advertisements, and all sorts of stuff. And I especially see burnout affecting my friends who are union activists, stewards, or hold another position within the union, like particularly in the mental and caring aspect of burnout. But we will get into that a little bit later. So when I Google a technical definition of burnout, what comes up is the following. Burnout is an occupational phenomenon characterized by extreme exhaustion from chronic workplace stress, leading to feelings of cynicism or negativism towards one's job and a reduced sense of personal efficacy. So, for me to put that into English, it means that you have been working so hard for so long that you begin to feel a strong sense of resentment and frustration with your job. It has primarily been studied in the context of healthcare workers and other care workers, but I would say that it also applies to jobs like ours where the work is very physical and we work for long hours of the day. So basically, you start to feel completely exhausted. You begin to question everything, but like in a bad way. You begin to ask yourself, like, what is it all worth? Does any of this even matter? like your mood is no longer lifted when you get to say hello to one of your favorite customers. You no longer feel joy upon seeing, and being able to pet one of your favorite dogs on the route. And I know a lot of people may not want to admit this, but maybe you have been fighting for your coworkers for so long within the union that you just begin to think that it's all futile and that nothing will ever change. So why bother? Your only thought in this stage of burnout is how to get home as soon as possible so that you can get some much needed sleep. So now I know that some of you out there are going to laugh when you hear me say these things like, but Margot, of course I just want to clock out and go home. This is a job. I never thought that I ever mattered here in the first place. Never got my hopes up. Don't worry about me. Of course I know that I'm just a number. I'm just a cog in the machine. But I want to insist that if you are listening to a podcast about being a next generation carrier, maybe you're a little bit more bought in than you're ready to admit. Maybe you care a little bit more than you think.
Hey, this is Dan Golodner from Tales from the Ruther Library. I'm proud to be part of the Labor Radio Podcast Network with more than 200 labor radio shows and podcasts from across the country and around the world. The Labor Radio Podcast Network, where working people speak. Find us at laborradionetwork.org.
All right, let's wrap up with one of my other favorite podcasts, the SAG-AFTRA Podcast. Being a SAG-AFTRA member and all. National Executive Director Duncan Crabtree Ireland talks with new union president Sean Astin about carrying forward his mother's legacy, tackling AI, and strengthening solidarity across the entertainment industry.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SAG-AFTRA podcast. I'm Duncan Crabtree Ireland, National Executive Director and Chief Negotiator of SAG-AFTRA. Our guest today, Sean Astin, has spent most of his life in front of the camera, starring in beloved films such as The Goonies, Rudy, and, of course, the iconic The Lord of the Rings, and behind the scenes as a committed advocate for SAG-AFTRA and its members. And now he's leading our union as its newly elected president. At the recent biennial convention, Sean addressed the membership and laid out his vision for the next chapter of SAG-AFTRA. And I'm just so personally thrilled to have him joining us today on the podcast. Sean, welcome to the SAG-AFTRA podcast and congratulations on your election.
Thank you very much, Duncan. I feel like the words honor and a privilege are this kind of phrases that gets used now and it just kind of goes by, but it is a genuine, I'm so proud of the fact that the members put their confidence in me, and I'm absolutely determined to earn it.
Now, as far as this role, the role of president of SAG-AFTRA, you've said that this role is life-defining. What does that mean for you?
Maybe I was meaning identity, a sense of identity, a sense of like who you are. My mother was president of this union, Patty Duke, in 1985 and reelected.
Can you tell the listeners, there's something you have in your office?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So we have an historian for SAG-AFTRA that works here at headquarters. And she presented me when I walked into the office the first time with my mother's SAG-AFTRA President business card. And, it's like, thanks for having me here. Make me cry in the first second that I walk in here. Like, what about the strong face of the union and that you're supposed to be presenting? And it's framed now and it's on there. But because that is such an important part of her biography, she passed away about 9 years ago, for me to be the first second generation president of the union, it takes everything that's led up to it, all the wonderful opportunities that I've had and the work that I've done and everything else, it sort of frames it in a different way.
I think the listeners would really love to maybe hear a little bit about what are your priorities as president? Like, what have you been thinking about that you want to put on the front of your agenda?
It's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
It's a lot. I know you know. The things that you hear the most about that are on top of mind of performers, the thing that unifies everybody in concern is the health and pension plans. So I think given the state of healthcare in the country and the skyrocketing cost of care, of drugs or whatever, pharmaceuticals, as our plan has wrestled with it, and there's been a lot of drama associated with decisions that have been made by the plan. What the president can do, because I've also learned, like, the presidency has limitations, like it can't conjure dragons or something. Like, it's kind of a bummer. Like, I don't.
There's no magical powers.
No
that
magical.
are
Well, there are
transition?
magical powers, just
yeah?
not that they have certain corporal limitations. But what the president is empowered to do in our Constitution is, well, you know, I'm not telling you, but you know this, but for the members, is to bring to the board recommendations and to agendize items that the board can then act on that can be communicated to those plans. So there's that. Artificial intelligence is the other thing that I hear, and that the membership and every citizen of the country and human being around the world is really focused on. People may not realize this. There is a lot of consternation, a lot of upset, a lot of feeling that the union does not understand the ethical ramifications of what artificial intelligence is doing. They don't like this idea that it's, a condition of employment. There's just an awful lot about artificial intelligence that is a pain point for people. We're existing in a culture where people are looking for places to fight back against this new technology. So for me, I want to say that their union is doing way more than they probably realize. There are limitations. There is only so much we can do. And I think what I want to try and do is make sure that the membership understands the command that we have over it, and make sure that we understand that we don't know everything. And there are a lot of places where great information and great ideas are coming from within the membership that we need to be open to. We need to try and figure out how to blend those ideas with what we're doing.
Sean, this is such great stuff. I really think we need to stretch this out and make it into 2 episodes. So I think what we should do is maybe take a little pause here and then come back with the next episode and just continue the conversation.
Sounds good.
Folks, time now for Shows You Should Know, SYSK as we call it. Quick roundup, great new episodes from across the Labor Radio Podcast Network, and just because it'll annoy Harold, across the airwaves, Harold.
Well, there's a lot of stuff going across the airwaves and podcast waves.
You see
and
what I mean?
It's just impossible to fit all the great shows that have come out over the past week in this half-hour show. So that's what this list is about. A few more that you ought to check out, like El Cafecito del Dia, where Tiffany Roman, president of the LACLA Rocky Mountain chapter, talks about how the government shutdown is hitting working families and federal workers nationwide, and how union siblings can step up to help those in need. And let me tell you, they did.
Keep your device tuned to this frequency for 2 new episodes of Classes of Mail. First, Michael joins Alan to reflect on his Air Force service and the benefits veterans have earned. Then, the 2 take on discipline letters they've received and pick apart management's claims one by one.
Yeah, it was Veterans Day this week, and we did have some Veterans Day episodes, didn't we?
We did, and that includes this next one, Pipe Up, which actually is one of my favorite titles for a podcast, a labor podcast. This is from the United Association of Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, therefore Pipe Up, marked Veterans Day with Mike Hazard, Andrew Garcia, and Sean Ellis. They talked with Mark about why veterans are such a natural fit for the trades and how the VIP, that's the Veterans in Piping program, opens doors to good union careers. Great show, great show.
And the official podcast of the National Association of Letter Carriers, Fight Like Hell, also honored Veterans Day by saluting NALC members who've served or are serving in the military, sharing resources and stories for veteran letter carriers.
We Rise Fighting takes on a packed week in labor and politics. Zohran Mamdani's mayoral win in New York City, the UAW Local 95 strike in Janesville, Wisconsin, and Starbucks workers' strike authorization vote.
So here's my thought. We've got Fight Like Hell and We Rise Fighting. I think they should do like a co-branding collaborative podcast, like
We rise fighting like hell.
Exactly. We rise fighting like hell. Exactly. You got it. You're two bodies, one brain, Harold. I like it. And finally, and this is personal for me, one of my very favorite labor leaders. This is a salute to Mark Dimmenstein. Just recorded his last episode of Communicating with You, the member as president of the American Postal Workers Union. And I think, for all of us, a big thanks to Mark for years of great work. I first met Mark. We were at an action. We were crashing some right wing inside the Beltway thing, probably 15, 20 years ago. And I took
that sounds about right.
No, and I looked to my right and I was like, that looks like Mark Dimmenstein, the president of a union. And you don't usually see, people. Well, back in the day, these days it's more common, but back in the day was not something that was common to see. So anyway, thanks, Mark. Great work.
And great podcasts.
Yep.
Well, okay, so that's a few shows you should know. You can find links to all the episodes we mentioned up at laborradionetwork.org.
And that, folks, is a wrap for this week's Labor Radio Podcast Weekly, our roundup of more than 200 shows in the Labor Radio Podcast Network.
Hey, didn't I just say this? Who wrote this script? Find links to every show at laborradionetwork.org. And follow #LaborRadioPod on Blue Sky, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter/X.
I know, I got the t-shirt plug again. Tell us what you think at info@laborradionetwork.org and support the network with union-made t-shirts, 2 colors, black and grey, all sizes, available now at laborradionetwork.org.
This podcast recorded under a SAG-AFTRA collective bargaining agreement. Edited.
Hell yeah, it is.
We still have Captain Swing in here, edited by Captain Swing, a.k.a. our very own Patrick Dixon, produced by me, Chris Garlock, a.k.a. Chris Garlock. Social media, always and forever by... Who dat?
Who, me? Harold Phillips?
Yeah, that's the one. You want a cue, Patrick? You're up, Patrick.
For the Labor Radio Podcast Weekly, still fighting like hell, I'm Patrick Dixon.
I'm mushed up Harold Phillips.
And I'm Chris Garlock.
Yep, stay active.
Stay tuned to your local labor radio show or podcast.
Easy for you to say, Harold. And we'll see you next week.
Hey, don't drink Starbucks.